The Empty Diary. Some stories are written in ink. Some are written in silence. Sometimes, the strongest stories are hidden in blank pages. This is the story of Ivy Bennett and her empty diary. It had no words but was full of feelings, memories, and hope. On her 13th birthday, Ivy got a gift from her grandmother. It was an old diary. It was covered with brown leather. A silver clasp held it closed. The pages were smooth and cream-colored. There was no title, no note, only a faded tag on the front. It said, "Write when you're ready." Ivy smiled when she got it. She wondered what to do with a book that was so empty. But she kept it. She placed it on her shelf. For many weeks, it stayed there. Ivy was always quiet. She was not shy. She just liked to watch the world. She loved the sound of rain on her window. She liked to see the leaves move outside her school. She watched the way people's eyes changed when they smiled. But now, silence felt heavy. Her father worked far away. He came home only on weekends. Her best friend had moved away. At school, Ivy sat alone. No one was rude to her. But no one was near her either. Her mother worked long hours at the hospital. She would kiss Ivy's forehead and go to bed, too tired to talk. The empty diary waited. One day, Ivy felt lonely. After lunch at school, she went home. That night, she picked up the diary. She opened the first page. She wrote one word, lonely. Then she closed it. The next morning, the diary felt warm. Ivy opened it. The word was gone. The page was blank, as if the page had swallowed her word. She frowned. She wrote again the next night, "Why doesn't anyone see me?" She closed the book. The next morning, the page was blank again. This happened for many days. Ivy wrote about her fears. She wrote about her sadness. She wrote things she could not say aloud. Every morning, the pages were empty. Yet something was different. She felt lighter. She slept better. She smiled more. One day, she laughed at a joke in class. Her teacher saw it. Her mother noticed too. She brought Ivy's favorite soup without being asked. Writing in the diary felt like letting her pain go. Ivy began to carry the diary everywhere. It was in her bag, under her pillow, in her jacket pocket. It was her silent friend. One rainy Saturday, Ivy went to see her grandmother. They sat by the fire. Ivy pulled out the diary. "Gram, did you know this diary erases my words?" she asked. Eleanor smiled. "It does not erase them. It holds them." "But the pages are blank," Ivy said. "They look blank to you." "But not to your heart," Eleanor said. "When you write, you are not losing words. You are freeing them." Ivy stared. "Huh." "Some diaries talk back," Eleanor said. "Yours listens." After that, Ivy wrote even more. She wrote letters to her father, but never sent them. She wrote about friends she missed. She wrote poems about birds that could not fly but learned to swim. Every morning, the pages were empty. Yet her heart felt full. She drew small pictures on the sides. She kept leaves and candy wrappers between pages. The diary became a secret book of invisible memories. One day in art class, a girl named Clara sat near her. "Is that a sketchbook?" Clara asked. "Sort of," Ivy said. "Can I draw something?" Clara asked. Ivy thought for a moment. Then she gave it to her. Clara drew a cat wearing glasses. Ivy laughed. It was her first real laugh in months. Clara smiled. "You have a nice laugh." Ivy felt warm inside. The next day, Clara sat with her again. They painted flowers together. They shared brushes and colors. Soon, Clara started telling Ivy stories about her dog, her little brother, her favorite songs. Ivy listened quietly but smiled more each day. Clara liked Ivy's calm nature. She often said, "You see things others miss." Ivy liked that. Days turned into weeks. Ivy and Clara began to spend more time together. They sat on the school steps and watched clouds. They made up names for the shapes they saw. Clara once said, "You have a mind full of quiet magic." Ivy wrote those words in her diary. Even if they vanished, she felt they stayed inside the pages. One weekend, Ivy invited Clara to her house. They climbed the old hill near her backyard. The sun was setting. Ivy brought her diary with her. For the first time, she showed Clara a blank page and said, "These pages hold my feelings." Clara smiled and touched the paper. "It feels warm," she whispered. Winter turned to spring. Ivy's father returned for a long weekend. They went on a walk near the old bridge. Ivy gave him a page from her diary where she had drawn a picture of them watching the stars. He hugged her and said, "Ivy, you are growing stronger." That night, Ivy wrote, "I feel seen." One sunny afternoon, Clara and Ivy started a small project. They decided to collect small happy things each day: a feather, a wildflower, a tiny shell. Ivy wrote about each item in her diary. Even if the words vanished, she felt like each memory stayed alive inside the pages. One morning, Ivy opened the diary to press a flower inside. She gasped. On the first page, her words had come back. "Lonely," it read. On the next page, "Why doesn't anyone see me?" All her words had returned. They glowed like soft moonlight. At the end, a new line was there: "I see you. Keep writing." Ivy cried softly. She smiled at the same time. Clara hugged her when she found Ivy holding the glowing diary. "Maybe it's magic," Clara whispered. Ivy nodded. Maybe it was. That summer, Ivy and Clara started a secret writing club. They invited 2 other girls from school who often sat alone. They would meet under the old oak tree and write stories together. Ivy's diary always stayed beside her. It never showed her words, but it felt warm, as if listening to every laugh they shared. One night, Ivy sat under the stars with Clara and read her glowing pages aloud. The words shimmered like tiny stars on paper. Clara said, "Your words are beautiful." Ivy realized something. Her diary was not just holding her pain. It was giving her strength to share her heart. Ivy kept the diary for years. It never filled with ink, but it held her every feeling. Sometimes she would open a blank page and see faint lights shining like stars. It reminded her that every feeling she wrote had a place. When Ivy grew up, she helped quiet children. She gave each child a notebook. On the first page, she always wrote, "Write when you're ready." She had learned something true. Even an empty page can carry a heart.